Happy Monday. Okay, so I want to go ahead. Britt, do you want me to start? Yeah? Okay. Well, you're muted, so I can't hear you, but I can see your mouth say yeah. Okay, so hello. Happy Monday. Again, I apologize, and hopefully we're going to hope that Rylan stays passed out for this. If you are not muted, go ahead and mute yourself. I hit mute all, but if I missed you, go ahead and mute yourself. The chat option is also open. So as we're chatting, you guys know that like normal, like ask questions, right? I might not read it right away because squirrel syndrome, hi, but I promise all questions will be answered. So I want to kind of talk about closing and what I mean by that. So again, and I said this a little bit before I hit the record button, but everybody closes different. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. It's just you way, right? And the reason I say that is because the way that you close and the way that you talk to your potentials is how they're going to relate to you. If they don't relate to you enough to enroll with you and basically like have a closing option, I hate that term, honestly, closing, but I know that's what it's called. I just talk to people. That's what I make connections. I talk to people, I answer their questions. I'm not in the industry to convince anybody to join me. I'm not in this industry to convince anybody that they need to be in this business. That is not what I'm in here for, right? I want to do this industry and this business and this team, what we have right now. Like, we have amazing individuals. Like, look at everybody who's on here running for their selves and their goals, right? That's what I'm here for. I don't want to convince somebody that they need to sign up and be a part of my team. Are you here for the baby?
Yeah.
Thank you. I've been trying to stay quiet so I am recording. Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so now I have my arms back and I can like, hi. Did you want to say hi?
Yeah, sure.
You can say hi.
Hey.
Okay, bye. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so I am not in this industry to convince anybody that this is where they want to be or need to be. If they don't want to be here and they don't feel like they need this, I am not their leader. You can leave cash in here. Also, by the way, don't mind my hectic life. We somehow end up now with my mom's dog that now lives with us. So we have 2 horse dogs and a miniature Yorkie. It's fine, and a newborn. So welcome to my life. If you wonder why I look like I have the enormous bags, that's why. So anyways, the little pitter patter is the little Yorkie on the floor. So I apologize. But so that's the thing. I do not want to convince anybody. I don't want to ever tell somebody that they need this, that they need me, or they need the products. To me, that's as bad as cold messaging. Because that's what cold messaging is, right? You're hopping into someone's inbox. Well, when you are closing and you're having to convince someone, to me, that is the same as cold messaging in my eyes. A lot of my downline know if we do conversations together and we get to that point and it is like, what do you do? Like, do you do the sounds good, talk to you later? Or do you do what questions do you have? How can I help you? How do I do this? How do I do that? And for me, I'm the sounds good. I'm here. Let me know if you have any other questions. And Brittany might be different and she'll go over her closing in just a second, but I am very much, that kind of person. I would rather say, sounds good, I'm here if you have any other questions, like let me know, than ever tell somebody that like, this is what they need and this is where they have to be. I don't want to push people, mainly because you don't know where somebody's at. You don't know where somebody's at mentally, financially, spiritually, like whatever other Lee, you don't know where they're at. And for me, if I don't know where they're at, I'm not going to tell you that you can need this or that you can do this. One, I know every single person is capable of this, but not every single person will do it. How many people in here have signed somebody up or talked to somebody and then they've completely ghosted them, whether they've already bought their pack or just kind of ghosted them? Hi. Like, so, wow, I sound weird when I'm unmuted. There we go. Sorry, somebody got unmuted. But you know what I mean? I have been ghosted. You have been ghosted. Everybody gets ghosted. It's not just like a dating thing. It's an everything in this industry, especially. I've had people enroll on packs and then never talk to me again. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense, right? Because you're invested and you're in this. view your closing techniques for me as that also. Would you rather have somebody join your team that is going to continue to do this with you, or would you have somebody join your team just for the volume for that amount of time? I can tell you that for me, nobody on my team is a number. Nobody on my team is volume. I don't care if you don't buy something ever again and you have zero volume for the rest of the time you're working your, I mean, I do care because obviously I want you to have it, but I'm going to talk to you the same way as I talk to the person who's the highest volume on my team. You come to me with questions, you come to me with concerns, you come to me with anything, my inbox is open. That's how I am with my closing. If you cannot build a relationship with the person, you cannot have them on your team. Like, they're not going to succeed, and you're not going to succeed as a leader, and you're going to view it as, what did you do wrong? Instead of realizing that it wasn't their time. It wasn't for them to run. You can't run for somebody. It'll exhaust you. You can pour yourself into so many trainings for your downline. You can tag them in a million things. You can do this, that, or the other, and you can do a million follow-ups with people that you want to join your team. It's the same thing. It's not going to work, and you're going to exhaust yourself. That's how I view my closing. So when people ask me why my enrollments are so high, it's because I talk to people and I treat them like they're already on my team. When somebody's in my inbox talking about they want to do this, to me, my heart, they're already a part of this with me. Obviously, they're not yet, but that's how I view it, and that's how I have my conversations. I talk to them and give them the same advice that I would tell somebody on my team running for the highest rank in their entire life. That's how I talk to every single person that comes into my inbox. I don't care if they've had a connection with somebody else. That's fine. It's who they connect with. So if they don't enroll with me, that is fine. I wish them the best of luck. And I say, you know what? I hope you do well. Because you know how many times people have not enrolled with me and they've enrolled with other people? People have not enrolled with me and enrolled with Brittany. And that's fine. You know why? Because they connect with Britt. And that's what I want. So when you switch your mindset and your heart to being what's best for that person, that's when your enrollments start to go. And that's when you learn that if somebody doesn't enroll with you, that you weren't their person. And that's okay, because guess what? You're not going to be every single person's person. It's like that in life. It's like that in this business. You guys can't hear me? Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. I think it might be you guys. Sorry. But that's what I mean. You cannot expect for somebody to join you and you can say all the right things, give them every single piece of information they want. But if it's not from the heart and you're not genuinely invested in them as a human, why are they going to join you? If you're reading off of a script and you're asking your enroller, well, what do you say? Okay, I'm going to save that in my notes for when I talk to the person. They're not going to join you. Why? Because those are my words. Those are Brittany's words. Those are our words. They're not from your heart. So everyone's like, do you have copy and paste things that you do? Or do you have like text replacement? You must say the same thing over and over and over again. No, I don't. Like, granted, there's only so many ways we can explain the 3 steps in the promoter packs, but I don't say the same thing to every single person that enrolls with me. You could go, let's see, I see Christina on here. I see Kayla on here. They've both enrolled. Those are just the first 2 faces I saw. Sorry, y'all. They've both enrolled with me. If you were to look at their conversations with me, they would be night and day. Why? Because they are night and day as people, completely different. Do I relate to them both differently in different ways? Do I know their different parts about them in different ways? Are they a part of my heart? Yes. I love both of them. And I know things about them that set them apart and make them different in places where they need me as a leader. But if I would have copied and pasted and done it off of a script instead of listening to them and listening to their feelings and listening to, I hate this word, but their excuses, because both of them, actually, that's a really good analogy, because both of them were very, very heavy in their excuses. But guess what? You have to listen to those, and you have to realize that you have to help them through that and not ignore them. They're not just objectives, but they're fears. You have to realize that their excuses are fears. And if they're not ready to run at that exact time, they will be as long as you stick with them. Don't give up on somebody because they have excuses or fears. Grow into that leadership with them, even if they haven't enrolled with you, and ask them, what is holding you back? Ask them, what is it that scares you? Why not right now? And if why not right now, what is it that is in your mind that's telling you you can't? Because to me, that's what I want to find out. And when people ask me what I do for a living, this, that, or the other, I don't have a pre-saved thing. I literally just type it out, and everyone's like, that must be so exhausting. And I'm like, you know what? It's really not, because every single person I have a conversation with, yeah, it might be a little bit different, but it comes from the heart and it comes from where I'm at the time. I told 2 people today, and I sent this screenshot to a couple of my newbies because they were, they were like, how do I get this person on my team? How do I do it? How do I do it? I said, we're not in the business of convincing. And I have word for word said that to multiple people when they say, I'm not convinced. I'm like, that's okay. If you have any other questions, like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So whether they're quote unquote convinced or not, it's not going to affect me. When somebody wants this and they're ready to go, you're not going to have to convince them. You are not in this industry to convince people to join you. You're here to share what we have to offer product-wise, because it's bomb as fuck. Sorry if there's little kids. I see Riker. Sorry. But I'm sure he hears a little bit different. It's fine. Hi. It's like Rylan. Our comp plan is out of this world. And if somebody else doesn't agree with that, they're not going to run. And that's how people become bitter to this industry. So many times I get in my inbox, I hear you say no cold messaging, but I joined so-and-so company and they told me that there was no cold messaging. And then I went into their trainings and it was all reach outs. Isn't that cold messaging? And I'm like, well, listen here, we don't have cold messaging, reach outs, warm whatever the heck you want to call it of messaging. I don't do it. And they're like, well, what do you mean you don't do it? And I literally am like, period, don't, period, do, period, it, exclamation point. Because it's as plain and simple as that. But then they know that I'm like, you can't put that in a script. Stop worrying about having the right, perfect things to say, not stay, sorry, words, sleep deprived. I mentioned I have a zoo and a newborn, right? Yeah, sleep deprived. So stop trying to be perfect and change your words to be perfect, and realize that the imperfections of you and the imperfect wording and the flaws and the fact that I suck at words, like humaning words, not my thing. But people know that about me and it makes me real. I don't try and be perfect. Far from it. When you get away from those scripts, from reading pages of notes, obviously notes are great. I take notes when other people train, but I don't read off of them when I talk to people. When you do it from the heart and you talk to people and you actually specifically share with what they're trying to say and what they're asking, instead of just like a generic response, because we can have generic response for everything. Our company is so simple. We can have generic responses for everything. Let's be real, right? It's that simple. But that doesn't set you apart from anybody else. How does that set you apart? If we all use the same generic response and that one person messaged 3 of us and we all use the same generic response, because really there's only so many ways you can explain the comp plan and our products, right? They're that simple. What's going to make them join you? What do you know about them that's going to make them join you? Why are they going to trust you? So get out of your head that you have to be perfect and that you need to have this script and then you have to give them all the info right at once and it all has to be perfectly said, because it doesn't at all. And so that's basically what I wanted to touch on for closing. I know a lot of people probably thought I was going to give you my word for word of how I close, but I can't. I could read you multiple conversations, but what's that going to do for you? Except for show you that I literally say something different to every single person. But what is that going to do for you, right? What is my closing, me telling you what I say and me giving you word for word what I say every single time going to do for you? You're not going to grow. Now, can you ask for help? Absolutely. Screenshot it to your leader and just say, hey, like, what would you say? Because a lot of times when people ask me questions all the time and say, what would you say? And I tell them, send me the screenshot. You can't just say, what would you say to somebody that wants info? I need to know what the conversation says. Because I want info doesn't tell me anything about the conversation. Doesn't tell me how they started, how they asked you, what it was like that they responded to, if it was a story, what that story said. I need to know these things because if I'm going to respond to it, I need to know what the context was that they responded to you was. Where it was, you know what I mean? So make sure that when you are asking for help, that it isn't just a generic, like, hey, what would you say to somebody that wants info? Well, what did they say? Send me the screenshot. You could send me a screenshot all day long and I'll just reply and I'll tell you what I would say to screenshots. But guess what? Then again, you aren't going to grow. You can't mess this up. There is no right or wrong way. There's a you. You are the way for you. And the minute you get that through your head that you are your business, you are your brand, I'm not, Brittany's not, you're going to realize that your team is going to connect with you. People ask me all the time. I was just asked if I would do a training for another team. And I said, absolutely. And the one thing that the leader asked me was how I have connections. If I talk to my downline on a regular basis, if I know stuff about them. And I said, I could probably, almost everybody in my IPA chat, I could tell you of who's working their business and people I've talked to. I could tell you who they're married to. I could tell you if they have children, what their children's name is, how old they are, if they have animals, what their animals' names are, birthdays, anniversaries, special things to them, their fears before they join this. I could tell you details. And the other leader was like, but why do you need to know all of that? That doesn't have anything to do with your business. I said, yeah, it does. You're in this business to grow people. Stop thinking there is a script for that. There's no script for people. Brittany, did you want to add anything to how you do your stuff? Sorry.
No, that was perfect. And it's truly like something I'm just going to put on a different perspective too, because I came, and Lindsay knows this about me, because Lindsay is the one person that I'm super close with and can always kind of really be transparent with when I need my stuff called out on. She's like that, my person. So when it comes to like business, my first, I would say year even, okay? And this is, and sorry, my pit bull's snoring. So if you hear something snoring, that's what that is. But my first year, so even after I hit 40K, I kind of stuck to a script up till the last like few months is when I mean script, I mean like I had a formula for how I had my conversations. And how I like to explain it is my stuff was all different in each conversation, but I had the same kind of guiding post, I guess you could say, with how I had my conversation. And it worked for me up to my next level of growth. Because what I'm trying to say is you'll go through different seasons with what you're doing right now works for you to get to 4K or get to 12K or get to whatever. But you got to learn you have to grow at each level of you. And so that's going to require different content, different like relationship building, different creativity ideas to be able to have conversations. I'm like very much like like when Em says she's like a very not social person in real life, neither am I. And like it takes people coming up to me for me to feel comfortable to be able to open up with people, because I'm shy kind of in real life. But on the phone, you can't tell that at all with me, because what I'm doing through my conversations is building friendships. I am so much more human on my conversations on the phone than I am in real life. And it's true because I take that time to get to know someone now. I get to know, and I don't let them just like pour out their problems on me, but I want to get to know what their fears are, their needs are, and their goals. Those are my main contexts of my conversations. If it starts like going left or right, usually it's because I'm following up with them and seeing kind of how they're doing. And I'll talk about that in a second. But when it comes to like any part of my conversation, it's team human. Like I don't have a secret sauce. I just say, hey, how have you been? You know, what's been new with you? I saw, like, what's been going on? Like, I just start up a conversation. I don't make it complicated. I don't overthink it. I just be me. Like, I'm so awkward when I text people. I'll like text them with what I even talk about. And then I'm like, oh, by the way, good morning. Like, I'm so like, and I do this to Linz all the time because I'm like scatterbrained like that. But that's how I talk to my people too, my potentials. I'm just me. And so the one thing I want to put, if you want like a little formula or whatever, something that helped me when I first started being aware, because I'm and I'm going to be completely transparent on this, I'm a very kind of cold person. I'm a very red personality. Like, I'm going to get my crap handled no matter what. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't allow myself to have a quit version of myself, kind of. And yes, I have weak moments, but I'm very like, what do I need to do? That's just my personality. I like to figure it out. So for me, I had to start training myself to be a human in my conversations because I know how to sell. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm not here to sell people. I'm here to change people's lives because I built my way successfully in my old company, but that crumbled because I sold people, if that makes sense. Okay. I sold people. I didn't help people grow. So when this business and I changed my way of doing things, it's because I started using feel, felt, found. And a lot of my team knows that I use this kind of. And what I mean by feel, felt, found is feel with what they're going through. Get to know their need. Get to know their goals. Get to know them, what they're facing in life, what their struggles are, what's going on, and get to know it. Ask. There's no way of telling you how to have a conversation. You have to ask. Like, that's the only trick in the book is, hey, you got to be like, so what's going on? What are you wanting to, what's been going on with you? What are your struggles? Like, I get to know people on a real level. It's because I'm bold in those specific moments, but myself. People are comfortable with me enough to be able to tell me their struggles because I've built that. So that's by having conversations. And then I use felt. Felt is relating to them in some type of way on how I've been there myself or how I've overcome what they've gone through or how, I can relate to being a single mom because I was a single mom at one point in time. And I know what it's like to, be paycheck to paycheck or, hey, I had an eating disorder at one point in my life. So I understand what it's like to go through those struggles and need to overcome that and get proper like self-love going. That's why I love what my tribe does because that's what we teach you. I'm just human in my conversations and I'm vulnerable, guys. I'm not embarrassed about my past because my past is what made me, but I don't let that be my excuse on what holds me back. Okay? So in your conversations, you gotta be you and do the uncomfortable. And if you're avoiding the uncomfortable in the conversations, you're avoiding success. Success is built in the uncomfortable through your conversations. And it takes practice because just because you don't know how to do a conversation or let's say you doubt yourself, there's never a bad conversation. If you looked at my conversations when I first started, it was so old company like that forgot this is recorded that I like look back because I'll follow up with people and I'll be like, oh my God, this poor girl, no wonder I should have joined me at the beginning of January of 2018 when I first started. So stop comparing your chapter 1 for one. And then the last thing is found. And the reason why I say found is because I like to relate to people on what I have found. I am the key to someone's life changing. And when you own that confidence on what I have my hands on, like business wise and what I have my hand on product wise, like Lindsay was saying, we don't need to convince. And that's where I think, and this is like this is the one secret sauce I can give you. You have to go into your conversations already owning that shit, already owning that you're that person. Doesn't matter when, but it will happen in their time. I always, if someone's in my inbox asking about the business, they're going to sign up with me. I don't care if it takes a year. I don't care if it takes 6 months. 3 days, whatever I know is that in their perfect time, when they convince themselves by watching me stay consistent, by watching me stay passionate, they're going to join me. It's not my job to be like, okay, come on, let's start. So when you guys ask about follow-ups, I follow up by just getting to know what's going on with them again. I just build conversations through their stories. I just go and comment on their posts. Those are me following up and building connections, because eventually they're going to hop in my inbox, or I'm going to hop in theirs by their stories and start building a new conversation again. It doesn't have to be product and business to start a conversation, you guys. It doesn't have to be straight to the pitch. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is when you guys follow up, and I know I'm jumping off the topic a little bit, I notice a lot of people follow up and start pitching. And what I mean by pitching is like, hey, so are you ready to buy your 3 steps that you were talking to me about 2 weeks ago? Hell no, I'm not. I didn't come to you. You need to build value. I am not going to buy from some person that's like in the mall kiosk that are shoving product in my face. I'm here to buy because you related to what I was struggling with. My upline got me started because she related to me not being able to afford my car payment like on a monthly basis, and because my anxiety was at an all-time high. And I needed something that wasn't going to make me feel like I was watching myself on an out-of-body experience because of the prescription medicine I was on. Like straight up. Because that's how prescription medicine made me feel. And she could relate to that. And so because she related to that and spoke one simple sentence over me that was human, it changed my mindset towards this and made me start. Because I promised myself I was never going to get back into network marketing, ever. And so when I say you have to be you, you got to be freaking you. I can't make you do these things. I can't make you stay consistent. And if you need to reference the best video on that, go watch Lindsay. She did 2 videos on this last week about taking ownership of your success. Like taking ownership of your business, taking ownership of where you're at, but also doing the conversations, and that takes practice. So I wanted to focus on Feel, Felt, Found as far as that goes. You can hop in if you have anything.
No, I love that. I just think that it's just so important to remember that like there's no script to life. There's no script to talking to people. It's the same thing for this business. It's a part of your lifestyle. So when you're having conversations and you're adding value and you're being intentional with your conversations, you have to realize there's no script that goes with that. So when you read a conversation, if you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, that was terrible, chances are it wasn't. Chances are that person just wasn't ready, and that's okay. So don't think because every single conversation you have doesn't mean that they're enrolling with you, that it's the wrong type of conversation, right? That doesn't mean that. And so something that Britt said, I'm going to kind of just go into follow-ups, and then if you want to take over like the transitions and stuff like that. Does that work, babe? Perfect. I just answered for you. Sorry. So with me, there's 2 types of follow-ups. I follow up in people's inboxes with them when they tell me like that they wanted to enroll like the next week. They'll be like next Friday, and I'm like, perfect. I'll add it to my calendar and I'll shoot you a message. Does that work? And they'll say yes. Perfect. So I add it to my calendar. That's one type of follow-ups, right? Do you know when they want to do it? You're following up with them to get their information, this, that, or the other. And then I do what I call intentional follow-ups. And in my IPA chat, I say interactions, but interacting with intention, like intentionally interacting, adding volume. I do those every single day. Those are my versions of follow-ups. I'm not in their inbox. I'm making real connections with them, because guess what? If they messaged you once, they're still seeing your stuff. They're going to message you again. And then they're going to continue to watch. And the next time that they message you, it's going to be, so I know I messaged you like a year ago, but I've literally still been watching you every single day, and I'm ready. Let's do this. And you hadn't even talked to them like in their inbox or anything like that in a message in like a year. But because they're ready, they've been watching and it's their time, they're ready. They're going to run. They're going to get into this business and watch the trainings. You're not just going to enroll somebody, tag them, and they're going to be gone. Right? So as far as following up, for me, yes, of course, make your follow-ups. I have a potentials list in my phone, and I follow up with them like when I know that we've talked about something and it has to do with that. I will follow up, but it isn't random. It isn't like I'm following up with them like 7, 8, 9, 10, 57,000 times. It isn't just blue, 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 blue for the last 3 years, right? It's, if I message them once and I don't hear anything back, chances are I might message them again if we have like a promo going on. Like if the company launches one of their like free shippings or like something like that, I might message them again for that. But then if I'm blue again after that, I'm not messaging them again. They can watch me because guess what? They are. You know that when I had my son, and I like obviously didn't do a ton of follow-ups, but I was reading comments when I was saying that. That's why that was a long pause. But so when I had my son, so many of my potentials that had left me on blue messaged me to congratulate me about my son and to ask me and say like how amazing it was that I was still working my business. They're watching. You don't have to be in somebody's inbox every single day over and over and over and over and over again and spam the heck out of people in order for them to watch you. You have to build that value. You have to build that value within your relationship. You have to build that value within the product. You have to build that value within the company. And when you're in somebody's inbox 5, 6, 10, 15, 3,000, 100 million times, whatever number you want to throw out there, because if we come from the same old company, then that was what you were told, your hundreds list, and you better keep going and you better keep messaging them because yes, they want it. They just haven't said yes yet. They haven't said yes because they don't want it yet. If you're not adding value to that, it takes away the importance of the products and the company and you and as a leader and your team. This comes back to a little bit of the I don't convince people. I don't convince people in my follow-ups either. Follow-up is not just about products. Follow-up is not just about your comp plan. Follow-up is not just about your team. Following up is literally continuing those interactions of value and adding the value to it and building relationships and networking and growing. Those are follow-ups. So when I say follow, like in my IPA chat, in my IPA chat, Lord help me, I will say follow up Friday. I don't mean getting in everybody's inbox. I just mean go to your potentials list that you have. And if you've been on my trainings in the last even like 2 weeks, you know, I say you write all of your potentials down. Why? Because when you do your follow-ups, you go to their page and you interact with them if you haven't in a while, because the algorithm messes things up. Every single follow-up Friday, I go through my potentials list and I follow up. I add value and make sure that I still have that relationship with that person. Not just so that way they'll join my company or buy my products, but because I care. If I initially put them on my potentials list, if I initially had a conversation with them, it's because I relate to them. That's not going to go away just because they weren't ready. It's probably because they have a really cute dog and I want to check up on their dog. Like, let's be real. Like, hi, I'm obsessed with animals. You have to build these relationships with people, and you have to realize that I'll speak for myself because I know some people believe strongly in following up and doing the sales tactic. And again, nothing wrong with that at all. If that is what's working for you, do it. For me, I would much rather have someone enroll a month or 2 later than they initially messaged me because they weren't ready right at that time, instead of me convincing them, giving them that grace that they need to continue to watch me and continue to convince themselves. Because if you watch somebody long enough, they're going to be in their head and be like, you know what, I need to do this. Because if I would have joined her like a month or 2 ago, think of where I would be. They'll sell themselves on it. You don't need to. As long as you're giving them that trust, your follow-ups do not have to be stressful. You do not have to be in your head about them. Obviously, you want to continue those interactions and don't give up on them, obviously. But your follow-ups do not have to be constantly in someone's inbox. You can do all sorts of different types of follow-ups. So when I say follow-up Friday in my IPA chat, I always mean going to your potentials list. And I say this because I do a lot of like, even though our IPA chats have been going on a while, I always do like little asterisks underneath things. Like I'll say interactions and I'll say with intention, adding value. Make sure you're not just saying love this or adding in, you know what I mean? So when I do my follow-up Friday, I say, go to your potentials list, follow up with them. If you haven't interacted with them and you don't see them on your timeline, chances are they don't see you on theirs. Give them a reason to look for your posts. Give them a reason to know if they don't see you and they're scrolling on their Facebook and they don't see your picture or your post and they know that you post every single day. Like, hi, I post religiously every single day for at least over 2 years now, right? If you don't see me post, like SOS, check in on me, call the Coast Guard. Like I live around a lot of water, like check in on me, right? Because I know I need to work my business. So I'm going to post every single day. If you know that about someone, aren't you going to look, not without even realizing it, you're going to realize that you're not seeing them anymore and you're going to go to their page and you're going to look and check on them and see what they were doing? People do that to me and they'll message me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I hadn't seen your post in so long. Like you had the baby. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, you know what? Facebook has that algorithm. I'm so sorry. But now that you message me, I'm sure like it'll start again. Like you'll see my stuff. I'm so sorry that happened. Like Facebook does that. But when you build that like relationship with them, because that's really what it is, they want to look for you. They want to see your post. They want to know about you. They get used to viewing you. So it's important. So as you're following up, remember, it is not just solely about the product and the company. It's about the relationship that you're building. Because then when they're ready, if they do ever, and sometimes they might not ever join you, and that's okay. This industry isn't for everybody. But you're changing the stigma that it has on it. You're getting rid of that bitter feeling that somebody who did network marketing 5 years ago has on it. And then maybe, even if you aren't for them, they might take a chance on themselves because of you. To me, that is huge. That is like huge. If somebody is just like, I believed in myself and I started this and I started even my own business because you know what? I saw you can do it a different way. To me, that's huge. So as you're following up, remember, don't overthink it. It's natural. If you look at something and you can't instantly think of something that you relate to and that you want to post besides, oh my gosh, I love this, or yes, girl, or an emoji or whatever, that's not your post. Not every single post you have to relate to either. Even though you've made a relationship with them and you talk to them, does not mean every single thing that they post you are going to relate to. So don't worry, right? Don't worry about it. Get out of your head. Don't overthink it. Make it natural. Make it as if you were talking to your best friend. Every single person that comes to my inbox, or every single person that messages me, or every single person that comments on something of mine, I talk like we have been best friends forever. Why? Because I'm building those relationships and I genuinely want them. My relationships aren't just because of this business. It's because I genuinely care about people and I want those relationships with people. Do you have anything to add to that, Britt?
Not to that, because that's like perfectly said, honestly. I want to talk about transitioning really quick. I want you to kind of just have a perspective on how to get into that habit, as far as making sure when in your conversations, how Lindsay's talking about like team human, and really just getting those like that trust and that value built up, and really getting to know people. When you're doing this and getting this trust, getting this value built up, you're gonna hear word choices. And I want you to start paying attention to these word choices, because this is how you transition the conversation to start being bold and asking the questions like, you know, where for me, I always ask like, well, what are you doing to change these things? Like if there's things going on and they say that they're paycheck to paycheck, or let's say they're working all the time and they're tired of working all the time. Okay, and I always relate to, okay, so if that's the case, what's going on with changing that? Like, are you wanting it to stay like that? Are you wanting to keep working 60 hours a week, or are you wanting to change that? I put it and the reason why I do that is I put it in a perspective for them to be able to kind of start seeing a different version in their head so that they can start being aware of their limitations. Like Lindsay was talking about, like my job is to help them understand their fears and help them grow. But I have to help them understand their fear. So for me, what I do in these conversations, they're gonna have different word choices. So for example, tired, chasing my children around all the time, working all these hours, Christmas is on layaway. I don't know. You have to start. I mean, these are going to happen when you're having conversations. You're going to get to the nitty gritty of these things. Okay. These are cue words for you guys to start taking ownership of and being the leader that you are by helping them make that change. This is where your job comes in. If you're hearing these words and you're not saying, well, why aren't you changing this? Or how come you've never looked into what I do then if you're paycheck to paycheck, or, things like that, and not taking ownership to be the key for them, you're not doing your job for them. Your job is to change lives. Okay? So if you're not being bold when you're needing to be bold, you're not doing what you came here for. You're here to change lives. Your life will change by you changing others. I will say this till I'm blue in the face. My paycheck is a direct reflection of the lives that I changed. And I don't need to go throw out numbers, but what I bring in is a beautiful amount of money. And the thing about it, that's also a reflection of the lives that I do impact. And so I want that to experience throughout my downline and throughout this tribe. So the reason why I say that is, if you're hearing words like I'm tired, or I can't, like things are so tight right now, I'm struggling with even being able to afford Christmas. Because that was a talk conversation I had with someone earlier today. And it's like, okay, girl, so if that's the case and you want to provide Christmas for your kiddos, what's going on? What are you doing right now that's going to change that for you by Christmas? Well, I'm not doing anything right now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Because the thing is, you're coming to me right now wanting change. You have to do different to get different. So why haven't you ever looked into doing what I do? And I word it like that. Lindsay words things differently. And I word things there's no right or wrong. But what I'm trying to say is you have to take accountability and practice this part of helping build that value for them. So to transition that conversation into the products, into the business. Like if they're tired or they're talking about that, okay, so what are you doing? Are you like what's going on with your sleeping schedule? What's going on with your body? What's going on with your nutrition? If they're talking more product based, I get to know what they're doing for themselves. So you're exhausted all the time chasing around kiddos. Are you drinking coffee like it ain't no joke? Like you're pissing coughing now? Because if that's the case, I'm telling you right now, I'm sure you're probably running lethargic in your body inside. Yeah, you're describing my life right now. I know. I've been there. I've been that mom that was running off of coffee all the time and struggling all the time and constantly crashing and up and down, and it would trigger my anxiety. So I relate to you. I understand what you're going through because I've been there. But what I have found for me that has really changed my whole entire health, everything, is 3 simple steps. And I want to just drop this in there just so it's recorded because I feel like this is so, so important, and I feel like it's so stressed, but it needs to be stressed so much. You need to be dropping breadcrumbs in a way. Like when people ask, what are your 3 steps or what do they do? And let's say they just straight out ask. So many times, you guys, I get tons of conversations screenshotted to me where it's just straight word vomit. Of what the 3 steps do. And for one, I break it down. I say, so if someone asks what it is and what does it do or whatever, I keep it so simple. And I say it's a simple 3-step nutritional system done within my first 20 minutes of my day. And I know that people word it differently or do it differently. So you can do however, but then they're going to ask, what does it do? And the reason why I do that is so that I can keep control of the conversation a little, where it allows me to get to know them and build up into more value so that I can take it back into their goals. Lindsay might do different. I never right out answer people's questions. I first want to discover the need behind the question, if that makes sense. Like, let's say they're like, what is your 3 steps do? Well, tell me a little bit what's going on with you. Like, what are you wanting to change? Are you tired? Like, why are you coming to me? And I don't word it like that, but I'm saying it like that to you guys to get to know, so you can get to know what they're going through. That's how you really make sure that you're focusing on their cues to get into the next layers of the conversation. And this is not a microwave. It's a crock pot. It takes you building relationships and you making this a sturdy foundation for that person to trust you. So that's all I have, because I'm going to keep yapping.
No, you're good. I just said I do answer questions, but I do what you do at the end of my question, at like the end of me answering their questions, just because I want people to always ask me questions. Because I'm so awkward and I don't ever want to give too much information of anything, because I am so science with my nursing background. So I do it different. So see what I mean? Like Britt and I do it different. Whatever you related to, whatever was like an aha moment for you from this, take it and adapt it into you. Just because we do it one way, you could literally like something Britt said and something I said and make it into your own thing and run with it. Do what is best for you. And if you had an aha golden nugget like moment where you were like, see, that's what I need. That's what I'm missing. That's what you need. That's what you were missing. Do it. But if you don't apply it and you just sit here and you listen and you shake your head and you're like, yes, that is so good, that, but you don't do a damn thing with it, it was all a waste. You just wasted 49 minutes. Like, I'll be honest, because I know for myself, like, this is never a waste for me. I will do this over and over again, but that's because I will genuinely apply it. I am still a learn-it-all. Britt is still a learn-it-all. We text each other every single day and ask each other questions of what we're doing and soak it all up and say, like, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? We do it every single day. It doesn't matter how much success you see in an industry. You're going to stop seeing it unless you're going to continue to learn and apply. So make sure that what you just, anything you, not even just now, but in our team page, I know in my IPA chat, I've been sharing some training videos that go back like all the way to almost 2 years ago. Britt has been too. Use those. Even if you watched them when you first enrolled, watch them again and apply them. Because watching it and taking 20 minutes just to say that you watched a training video, you're not going to get, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you a cookie. I'm not going to give you a medal. I'm not going to do any of that, right? Because your cookie or your medal or whatever you need for watching a training is going to be the success that you get out of it. And I know that's a little bit of tough love, and I'm sorry, and I love you, and that's why I do it. And I have to say that, like, when I give tough love, it's because I care. Not because I just want to sit here and talk, right? We care about you, and we want you to do this, but you have to apply it. So please, please, please start reusing videos and apply them. If you didn't apply them when you first enrolled, I know I watched videos from when I first enrolled, and I will now apply them, if that makes sense, because 2 years ago, Lynn's not the same Lynn she is now, right? So it's a different mindset. So please, please, please start, if you haven't, applying the things and sticking with them. Don't just do it once, twice, 3 times, 5 times. Stick with it. Switch it up a little bit. Take something that you hear and an aha moment and apply it to what you are doing and alter it to fit you. So that's all that we have tonight. I hope you guys have a good week. Tomorrow we'll have an opportunity event. Wednesday we'll have the larger team training with everybody. Thursday, the opportunity event. Friday, we might have another opportunity event. I believe we do. Saturday, we're all going to not do anything because Oh, wait, no, Thursday we don't because it's Halloween. Yay. So Friday, we will for sure have an opportunity event because Thursday we won't. And then Sunday, more team trainings. And then we start all over again. So I love y'all and I hope you have a great week. Bye. End September or October so strong.